Hey, what's going on everyone? This is Mike Colleen at MikeColleen.com. Alright, so this is my second video talking about box thinking and getting out of the box. So there's something specific I left out on the other video I wanted to talk about in this video. So, first of all, there's a band that really inspires me right now, and I really think you should listen to this band. It's called Tonight Alive. And the song that I'm listening to right now is called Waiting for the End, and the lyrics for the whole thing are just amazing. So let's see if I can read some of them off. It says, "When I tell you how it is and always will be, and I won't stop now for the sake of the doubt that does not belong to me." Does that not sound like a narcissist trying to put doubt in your head and trying to project their doubt onto you? Yes, it does. I just noticed this last week as I started reading the lyrics to their songs that a lot of these songs are about narcissist abuse. Oh, I've got something real quick before we start this video, and it's going to be about what I just talked about, by the way. I was going down the highway in my car and had the radio on, and a song came on talking about narcissist abuse. It just blew me away. Man, people, I'm telling you, the word is getting out. And I remember it saying something about something to the degree of a narcissist acting like they're altruistic, etc., etc. I'm like, God, that's so true. They act like there's this good person and they're not. Alright, let's get on with this video. Alright, so here's one of the things, probably the main core thing, especially when you get to the devaluing stage, which is generally after a few months, maybe even sooner. They'll test you early on, and if you don't bite, then they'll go back to love bombing. Alright, so here's what I'm talking about. The last video was talking about in-the-box thinking. So one of the things that narcissists do, and humans in general will do, especially if they're lazy and they're not willing to be conscious and be in the present moment to see you for who you are in this moment and what you're saying and what you mean. Narcissists and lazy people will generally just revert back to what they thought you meant 5 years ago. So just every time you say this phrase, word, or sentence, they just, oh, they mean this. It's a very lazy way of not thinking, okay? It's going back into the history, into the cache of their brain, versus coming out onto the live world of, okay, who are you right now in this moment, okay? So, that box that I keep talking about ends up being a filter where no matter what you say, it goes through that box and it gets filtered through that. So you could say A, but they're like, oh, well, you said this. You're like, no, I didn't. Okay, you did. You just said blah, blah, blah. No, that's... And literally, I've literally said, like, that is literally the complete 180 degrees opposite of what I just said. Well, that's what you really meant, though. Now, the minute you get into a conversation of saying A and then someone says you said something else and then different words come out of their mouths, or they go, well, you may not have said that, but that's what you meant. Stop. Stop right there. You're dealing with a narcissist. Walk away. I'm telling you. The minute someone starts telling you what you meant when you were speaking, that is a narcissist. Get away from them because they're so stuck in their head. They don't have the ability to actually hear you. And number two, they're probably doing it on purpose just to fuck with you and piss you off. So just walk. Oh, by the way, if you guys haven't figured out, that's me on the left in the yellow shirt. I think I said this quite a lot back in a bunch of videos, and on the right, that's Buddha Chandi. And right behind him is Buddha Mai. So Buddha Chandi was the main monk at this temple, but he was not the main monk that I worked with for years and years. That was Buddha Calm at a different temple. He was in Richmond, and then he got transferred to Sacramento because he became the top Laotian monk of all the temples in Northern California. Alright, so here's what narcissists will do. So here's what the average person does. I'll go briefly over this. So just like a computer has a history and a cache and it saves it, so essentially what your computer does, when you punch in a URL for the first time, it goes out onto the internet and it goes to that website and it grabs that image of the page, the images, the text, etc., and it brings it back to your computer so you can see it. And once it does that, it then saves it in the cache. So think of the cache as a little vault or a little bank or a little box area where it saves stuff, okay? So then what happens is It will, so let's say you're clicking around on that website. So whatever you click on, it brings that information back and saves it in the cache. So next time you go to that domain or one of the links that you clicked on, one of the pages, it doesn't go out on the internet because everything is about fast. So if it can go into your cache and find it there, it pulls it up. The problem is, what if that person rewrote that page last night? Or let's say you haven't been to that page in a month or a year. Well, they've probably changed the images and the text, etc. on the page. So the problem with doing that is you're not pulling up what's actually happening in the now moment of right now. You're pulling up what it was, say yesterday, the day before, or last year, or whenever. Now, this is what narcissists do because they can't open up to the right brain, or they just don't open up to the right brain. The average human can do it. Now, the average human's also lazy. So like a computer, we also have this history or cache system where we go out. So when you first meet someone, you generally go to your right brain and you're like, who is this person? Like what do they believe? What do they think? And you're trying to figure them out, right? And then what you do, every bit of information, the things they say, the facial expressions or body language, you are gathering all that and storing it, that history, in the cache. So next time you talk to them, well, first of all, this process may go on for a couple days, couple weeks, maybe even a couple months, but most people are too lazy to do it that long. They tend to go back to sleep, and then what they do, just like the computer does, next time you punch up that URL or that domain, or click on that link, the first thing it does, it goes into your cache to see if you've already downloaded that image or that page or the front page or whatever. Same thing with a human being. So what we tend to do is we tend to go to our cache to grab the history of what they said and what they meant way back when, which means you're not actually listening to what they're saying right now. Now, people will do this. It's called generalizing. They will do this with skin color, races, sexualities, countries, accents, all kinds of stuff. And so, oh, this person's one of these people, and you automatically go to this box inside your history in your cache and say this is who they are. So when they say this, they mean that, when they may not mean that at all. So the average person is lazy, but a narcissist, number one, they generally can't go back out, okay? So here's what this is what an adult person will do, someone over the age of, say, 7 or 8 years old, because 0 to 7 is the imprinting stage, okay, where you're just like recording. It's like a video camera and an audio microphone just recording everything they're doing. That's what babies do. That's what infants do till they're about 6.5, 7 years old approximately. And then we go into the next phase, okay, developing our logical brain. And then after that, we develop our social brain, etc., okay? So that's not what this is about. Not really, not yet. So an adult, when we meet someone new, or we go to a new city, new country, new store, new business, new anything, we go into our right brain and we begin to see what's going on. Okay, now I'm not saying we do this consciously, but we begin to gather information from there. What does a narcissist do? Even if they're 50 years old, they go back down to the reptilian brain, the brain that we were using when we were a baby. The reptilian brain is the brain that imprints. It's like a video camera and an audio microphone just recording. And so they just record everything and they copy everything. And this is why a lot of people will say about narcissists, they try to become you. They try to become a copy of you. So in the box thinking is the left brain. The left brain is about rules, structure, and organization, and memorizing. So when you study for a test and you memorize something, that's where you're memorizing it from, okay? The right brain is the experiential brain. See, hear, feel, smell, and taste, where you're physically doing stuff. The left brain is about reading the book. The right brain is about going out there and doing it, the scientific, mixing the chemistry, the chemicals, going out and learning how to play football, physically doing. That's the right brain. So here's what happens. In the box thinking is like a filter. It's like when you see someone, it's like going into the history of the cache, and you're not really seeing them for who they are. You're seeing them for what you have in this box, okay? So in their mind, if they think you're a bad person, or in the narcissist case, they want to make you be the bad person, they go to this negative box of all this stuff about you, and they superimpose an image upon you of this bad, horrible, lazy, shameful, or whatever they try to project on you. So number one, this is why a narcissist never gets to know you. They have no clue who you actually are. All they know is in their brain, it's the either or brain. It has to be either they're good or I'm good. So if I'm good, if they're good, that means I'm bad. Well, can't have that. So I got to project stuff onto them. Now, this is what this video is about right here. What a narcissist ultimately does is two things. Number one, they superimpose upon you or project upon you who they are. In other words, all the negative traits of lying, cheating, stealing, whatever they do, drugs, whatever. Like, haven't you ever been around someone and you've never done something and they are accusing you of it and you're like, what the hell? And yet you know for a fact that everyone around knows that they're the person that does that all the time. And you're like, what are you doing accusing me of this? It's called projection. So what they do is they superimpose all their negativities of who they are, all their negative traits onto you. Because a narcissist has to believe that they're this perfect being. So what they do is in that box, in their cache, in the history inside the brain where they store information, they put all of their negative traits into that box upon you. So it's their negative traits. Now, so that's number one. So now number two, then what they do is they find out the things about you that you're insecure about or things that maybe you're not good at or whatever. And then what they do is they store all of that into that box as well. So here's what they do. We'll call this part 3. So then what they do is every time they see you, they go to that box and go, this is who this person is. They're all my negative traits plus all their insecure traits. And then they begin to tell everyone, well, this is who they are. This is what they are. But there's kind of a funny catch that narcissists don't realize they're doing. Or actually, no, I don't think they... God, how to explain this? I don't think they don't see the connection. But the average person will. And this is where narcissists always stab themselves in the back. They always screw themselves over. Because if you watch my past videos, I put puzzles. Like, narcissists are not good at connecting the pieces at all. The average person's fairly good at it, at least average or better. All right? So when you come along, here's the first thing that happens. When they first introduce you to their friends and family and coworkers and just people at the grocery store or wherever, you go through the love bombing phase where they build you up. Oh, he's an amazing person. He walks on water. He's like Jesus, blah, blah, blah. And just like and everyone's like, wow, this guy must be a really amazing person, okay? So they do this for days, weeks, maybe even months. And all these people around them are like, God, that's so cool. That person just sounds like a really great guy, really great girl, blah, 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 blah. But then what happens is, here's the part they don't connect. They do the devaluing phase where they have put all of this negative traits in their history and cache in this box of who you are. And again, the box acts as a filter. And they begin to start saying all this negative stuff about you to all these same people. And all these people are like, look, trust me, the average person, maybe not the flying monkeys, but the average person that they work with and deal with, that they introduce you to and talked about to, they go through this really confusing stage of, wait, what? I thought you said this guy was this great person. You've known him for a year or 9 months or 2 or whatever. And they're like, they go through this really like, really? He just seemed like such a great person. So they go through this confusing stage, and then over a period of time, they're kind of confused and lost. And then here's another thing you have to remember. These people have known this narcissist for a period of time. They've been through this with them. They've seen them introduce people, love bomb them, and oh, they're the greatest on the planet. And then they've seen them devalue the person 2 or 3 months later, and they go through this confusion phase. So after the second, third, or fourth time, they're kind of looking at this narcissist going, what in the fuck is with this guy? The average person picks up on it. And here's the other piece. They have seen this narcissist do the same things that they're accusing all these people of, right? So you got this girl or whoever who's saying, oh, my boyfriend's cheating on me. And like, really? You said that guy was like the most faithful guy in the world. And at the same time, they're like, well, I remember you cheated on Tom like 5 times. You also cheated on Steve, Dick and Frank, like, and so people start to figure this stuff out, and they just kind of bite their tongue around this person. Go, oh, okay, yeah, so it's happening again. Oh, yeah, I'm sure it's them. So by the time they have devalued you to death, and you have finally caught on to what's going on, trust me, there is a third or 50% or probably more of these people that have been around this person that already know this about this narcissist. Now, they may not know this person's a narcissist. I think in a modern society, people are picking up on it. People are figuring this out. But even if they don't know anything about narcissist abuse, the average person has already really caught on to this person's like games and the stuff that they do to people, and they've started to keep their distance from them. Okay, so trust me, you already have a crowd of people in your corner, even if you don't realize it. And there's also a group of people within this narcissist range or life that want to speak on your behalf. They want to let you know, but they're too afraid because they don't want the narcissist to turn on them. But again, we're living in a time where all of this is being revealed. I mean, look at all the videos that I've made alone. There's songs coming out about this now. It is all over the internet, TikTok, social media. So I wouldn't worry too much if I were you. Trust me, there are people that are in the narcissist outer world that are very aware that this person is full of shit. So don't worry about it. Go on living your life. And not only that, but the narcissists, they're going to trip themselves up and they're going to reveal themselves as they always do. Remember, click subscribe. It makes a difference. Click the like button, and if you want, go ahead and make a comment. God bless you guys. I'll see you in the next video.